Tennessee heads down to College Station tomorrow night. Is this a trap game or is this just another game on the schedule? I want to talk about it a little bit and preview it right after this intro. Frank Rock, rocking and rolling on this Friday night. Thank you and welcome to the House of Orange Sports Channel. Appreciate you tuning in with me. We'll preview this Texas A&M game coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on ESPN. If you'll notice, of course, the music on the intro changed a little bit. Started getting hit with a little bit of copyright issues these last couple episodes. So if you've tuned in and there's no music, it's not a mistake that I've forgotten it. It's that either I had to edit it or I had to mute it. And based on when I got it, because it seemed to be hurting views, I just muted the music out. So you got to watch a musicless intro, but hopefully this one won't run into the same issues. It's frankly a better, more energetic song anyway. But as always, thank you for the support. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this thing out for me. I appreciate that, guys. Is just trying to grow this thing a little bit at a time. Sometimes it requires a little more patience than I want, but it's still doing good so far. It's still on a good pace where we're at, and hopefully we'll keep building up to that as there will be no post game, no VFL review this weekend. I'm going to be out of town, just not going to have a chance to record or anything. And I don't know. We'll see Sunday evening where it goes. Hopefully I'll be back in town Sunday evening, but baseball starts next Friday night. So we'll try to hit that pretty hard this week, baseball leading up to it. And let's rock and roll, man. Let's get into it. So Tennessee at Texas A&M tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. ESPN, Tom Hart, Jimmy Dykes on the call. That's the crew I like to hear because good things seem to happen when Jimmy Dykes is on the call for Tennessee basketball this year. Tennessee's a 3.5 point favorite according to DraftKings. Coming in, Ken Palm projects Tennessee to win 73-68. What I'm looking at, Texas A&M, yes, they're according to Joe Lunardi, they're a 10 seed right now. This is one of those teams, though, and especially with it being on the road, that plays that type of tempo that could give Tennessee some issues. Not a high-scoring team. It's not a great shooting team, but they control the pace. So is Tennessee able to get out and run their pace in this game? Or does A&M control the pace, slow Tennessee down, and kind of play their game, make it more of that slow it down type game, kind of like South Carolina did, 2 Tuesdays ago. But coming into this game, the SEC basketball standings, of course, Alabama lost to Auburn earlier in the week. So South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, all 8-2 at the top. Tennessee a half game out at 7-2, just because they played one less game. Kentucky 6-4, Florida 5-4, A&M 5-4 in the conference. So this is good. A&M team. It's a decent team. Just look at their schedule, and this seems like a weird game to predict to me, looking at how they are. So once they've entered SEC play, of course, their big non-conference game that stood out to me, they lost to Houston 70-66. But look at their in-conference schedule, and you'll kind of see a trend here. So first game out at home, they lost to LSU 68-53. Second game at Auburn, they lost 66-55. Then they won at home against Kentucky in overtime 97-92. Lost at Arkansas, and Arkansas's not been a good team so far, 78-77. They won at LSU 73-69. They won it against Missouri 63-57. Lost at home to Ole Miss 71-68. Beat Florida at home 67-66. Dominated Missouri 79-60. And now they come in. So it's not been that tough of a schedule in conference. They lost to Auburn. They lost to Ole Miss. They beat Kentucky. They split with LSU. They lost at Arkansas, who Arkansas has not been good. on paper, this should be a game you should look at and say, well, Tennessee should dominate this game. My fear is, and I talked about it, was, I put some bullet points in my intro. Is this a trap game, or is this one where Tennessee can excel? What are A&M's advantages? Well, I look at one. They're averaging 43.9 rebounds per game. And the funny thing to me is I look at this team, from a height perspective, it's not a big team. Most of them, if you had a median height, I'm going to say it's around 6'5", 6'6". You have Wildens Levesque, who's a grad transfer, 6'11". Their leading rebounder is Anderson Garcia. Funny enough, it lists him from Hamilton Heights, Tennessee. He's 6'7". Your only other guy that I see that's around 6'10" is Brandon White. And when I look at on the statistics, he's not even listed. So he's apparently a red shirt, or he's either out injured based on what I'm seeing. And it's just not a big team. So why are they so dominant? I mean, looking at a lot of their weights, it seems they're kind of those Grant Williams type builds where maybe they're not the tallest, but they can muscle you around. So how's Tennessee going to combat with that, especially if they go a 4-guard lineup? And you got Jonas Adu, and Tennessee got dominated Wednesday night on the boards against LSU. It was still a pretty resounding victory, but it was up and down. I talked about it on that post game, how it was like a roller coaster. What team shows up on the board? You're going to need a Waka. Man, I can't figure a Waka out. Like, you have moments against Kentucky last weekend where he was dominant. You have moments where he's in foul trouble. Adu he's more consistent than not. But then you have a game like last week against LSU, not that great of a game. He picked some kind of statistics up late. Kentucky had a good game. South Carolina didn't have a good game. He's had more good games than not, but there's still a little bit of a lack of consistency there. That part concerns me about it. The tempo concerns me in this game as well. I don't expect Tennessee. They've been the last 2 games. Of course, they scored over 100 at Kentucky. Scored 88 the other night. I don't know if they get out of the 70s in this game. That Ken Palm prediction may be pretty accurate based on what I'm looking at, unless somehow Tennessee's able to control this game and get the tempo going. But guys to look at for Texas A&M, Wade Taylor IV, averaging 22.7 in conference, 5.1 rebound. He's 6 foot. He's a guard. So, I mean, once again, Zakai Ziegler's going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to have a dude going against him. So he's going to have to be a dude in this game. And Tyrese Radford, 16.2 points per game, 6.1. That's all A&M's only 2 guys over 10 points per game. And their next closest, it's an 8.5 point difference between Radford and Anderson Garcia at 7.7. So you pretty much know who your guys are going to be scoring-wise for A&M. But rebounding-wise, Garcia, 7.7 points, 9.2 points in conference. So I'm looking more at that as a trend since they're in conference play. Henry Coleman, 3.9 boards, 6.5 points. Jace Carter, he's about 6'6", 6.2 points, 6.1 points. So nothing on these statistics outside of the top 3 really stand out. Taylor can score. Looks like he does a little bit of, kind of everything here. Radford can score. He can rebound. Garcia, kind of into good rebounder, really good rebounder, okay scorer. So, and, looking at some team statistics as well. So here's where A&M is. They score 73.7 points per game. Tennessee gives up about 68 points per game on that. Here's a couple things that stand out to me. Field goal percentage, 39.5. 3-point percentage, A&M only shoots about 26 point, not about, they shoot 26.6%. Their free throw percentage, 69%. This is not a good shooting team. On paper, based on Tennessee's defense, I could see them shut these guys down, man. I really could, but what's the pace going to be like in this game? Does Tennessee adapt to that pace? Do they control that pace? I don't. If it's one of those, it's like when A&M played Virginia, they didn't even score 50 points in that game. It was so. Is this one of those games? Dalton Knecht, he's been a road warrior this year. Zakai Ziegler, been a road warrior. You're going to need those two guys to do their things. Your X factors, Josiah Jordan-James, Vescovi, what do they do? Jordan Gainey had 18 points against LSU, more of an up-tempo game. It's not going to be that this week. Do they force Tennessee on the outside? This is a game where Jonas Aidoo, with his size, with his height advantage, it'd be big for him to take that over. Where do they go with it, though? I'm going to go with the prediction of Tennessee 75, A&M 65. I know the line is a little bigger. With Tennessee's defense, A&M's lack of shooting, I think it'll be a tough game. I think this will be a grinded-out game. I really do. And I don't know. This is it's just a weird game to review. It's a weird game to predict because A&M, to me, outside of rebounding, really doesn't do a lot well, but they have two guys that can score. They have guys that control the pace based on their scores. I mean, that Kentucky game got higher, but Kentucky's not a good defensive team. Tennessee's one of the best defensive teams in the nation. They're going against a team that's not very good offensively. How does Tennessee control that game? Do the guys step up? Because they're going to – I think this is going to be a physical team. This is one we're going to see how physical Tennessee is. Can they match A&M's physicality in this game? Like I said, I'm going to predict 75-65, and we'll go from there with it. But like I said, no post-game due to being out of town this weekend. No VFL review. Not sure how many of you tune into that as well, but we'll get this thing going back first of the week. Baseball's about to amp up next weekend. Cannot wait for that. This channel's baby is going to be baseball. It's going to be, when it's all said and done, it's not an opinion. It's going to be a fact when it's all said and done. This is going to be the best baseball channel that's out on YouTube. And if you want info, I'm not going to be an inside guy. Would it be a dream? Absolutely. But I'm building to this thing being the top baseball channel for Tennessee baseball that's out there. And basketball is not going to be far behind on it. Oh, yeah, we're going to hit football. Don't get me wrong on it, but there's a lot of competition on that one. A lot of other channels have done some good things with that. But, like always, thank you again. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Frank Rock, House of Orange. And as always, go Vols.
Everyone rejects me.